I'm going to let the spirit move. I wanted to sound real cool with these questions I had, but following what you just said, right, I think one of the things that I was thinking as you were talking in the beginning is like, all right, so you're talking about Christ. He's out there doing his thing, doesn't have a bed to sleep in, a house to be in, da-da-da-da-da. And when you mentioned Jesus wasn't tripping, I don't know how, he wasn't concerned. I was going to use a different vernacular. He wasn't concerned with the fact that, you know, his pockets were light, right? But he just knew that things were going to work out as they should. So as I'm thinking through that, I'm like, is it possible for humans, because, you know, Jesus fully God, fully man, but he knows, you know, he knows, he understands that he is taken care of. How do humans make that transition in thinking to not be, what did you say, have a transformative view of their finances in terms of like, how much does this cost, versus this is what I want to do? How do humans make that transition? Because it almost seems supernatural. It almost seems like it has to be a gift of the Spirit to not worry about what the bank says.
Funny. You go read in the book, there's a whole chapter on the ministry of giving and the gift of giving. Amazing. If you go through a list of spiritual gifts, there's actually giving inside there. So, since you mentioned it.
Gotcha.
But that's not the topic. Here's what Jesus said. He said, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth, rust, and thieves could steal it. But lay up treasures in heaven, where it's safe. Then the Apostle Paul said to the church, he's writing a letter and he was saying, guys, when you give, it's not because I need the money, but it's deposited to your account. And the way the Lord showed me was, he's like, we all have heavenly accounts. Some of us, the account is empty.
Okay.
Some of us, the account is full. Right. And from that heavenly account, we live our lives on the earth. And what Jesus did was he demonstrated that he knew he had enough in his heavenly account that he didn't have to have money with him. And at any moment, he could make a withdrawal from that account for what he needed. And this is where God gave me this revelation of money being a tool. Or it's a tool of exchange, currency. In other words, I can't eat the money in my pocket. I can't drive the money in my pocket. I can't live in the money in my pocket. The money in my pocket is used to exchange for the thing that I need. So when I go into Isaiah and the scripture talks about, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come and buy without money," etc. God was showing us that he knows how to get the thing that we need. Whether or not we have the money we need to get it, because it's not the money we need, it's the thing that we really need. And we have glorified the tool. We have glorified the unit of exchange, not understanding that the true value is in the thing that that money can get. For example, in Zimbabwe,
currently,
when they taught the economy, they started printing money in dimensions of like $100,000 bills and stuff like that, because the money was worthless. And at that point you realize, wow, I can have a lot of money in Jamaica. When they floated the dollar, their money became phony baloney, and you're spending $500 on a loaf of bread. You see what I'm saying? And all the time, if you were thinking, man, I can't wait till I get me like a 20G. And what can I buy with that? One thing of groceries. You see what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
Because we keep thinking in terms of money and numbers and not understanding, no, the value is in the thing. And God can show you how to get that thing without spending the money. And that was the first step in my life that transformed the way I approach money. Where the first step was, he started showing me how to get what I wanted without the money. He was like, forget the money. He's like, even if you don't have the money, watch how I can get you that. And I just started to figure out how to do things. And those were the days when I used to go to all the free events. But they weren't free. I would take 10, 12 friends to watch the Hawks play. 14, 15. I mean, I would just take a whole crowd. I used to have to beg people to come because the Hawks used to lose those days.
Yeah.
I used to take, I used to have to look for friends to go to the orchestra. Free. The ticket wasn't free.
Yeah, right.
I didn't have to pay. The Lord started to show me ways to get the thing that I wanted without having the money to get it. And it was from that stage when my mindset started to change. And I was like, man, money's a tool. You can have $5,000. I could have zero. And if what you can buy for $5,000 I can get for free, we equal. And my dad told me this. And this is a revelation my dad gave us. And it started off with mommy. He said, money not spent is equivalent to money earned. And this is how he explained it. I started with mommy's story. Mommy's at the gas station, and she's pumping gas in the car, and a guy comes up. He's like, ma'am, you want the numbers for the lottery? She's like, if you have the numbers for the lottery, why would you give it to me? You would play it. I don't need the lottery. She's like, well, it's $1 million. She's like, well, I already have $1 million. She's like, really? She's like, yeah. And my son got a scholarship. That's $20-something thousand a year. And it's 6 to 1, the US dollar to our dollar. That was $1 million they gave us. And it was a revelation in that moment. Stop running after the dollars. What do you really want? And that's the same thing Jesus was saying. He's like, I know you can't afford the bread, James. So you're telling me we can't afford the bread. It was Philip or whichever one. I think it was Philip. I know you can't afford the bread, but it's not about the money to get the bread. We just want the bread and the fish, right? Then give me something. He's like, well, there's some child with some bread and fish. We don't need $500,000. We just need bread and fish. Come. Bread and fish. And the mentality changed. What is it that you really want? God can give you the wisdom to get that thing.
All right, I'm ready to go get it, man, but I got to keep talking to you real quick. Okay, one more. Oh, man, I got to get to my deep one. One